Do you think that training 10 million people in AI is achievable?
I think it is, but only if we all do it together.
The Prime Minister has set this magnificent goal to get 10 million people trained in AI, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But as we move from this high-level government pledge to actually getting those experts into classrooms and people from business really sharing their skills.
It's a really exciting opportunity, I think, for businesses, but it's one that has to become a shared problem. It can't be just a pledge that has been made by the government and then no support from businesses to actually bring this to life. I think it's more important than ever that everybody sees that as their responsibility, and it's a real shared responsibility. So, you know, as an individual that has the opportunity to go and share those skills back into the classroom, we should all be doing that. So it's a real commitment that we need businesses collectively to get behind and really, really partner with those schools to be able to support. It's a shared problem. It's not just the government's problem.
I think you're right. And think about the industry education bridge. We've heard a lot of that here in the Eden project. What does that look like in practice?
Yeah, I think it's about, you know, in education, them building the fundamentals into the curriculum so that individuals at school learn those fundamentals, and then through as they transition into the workplace, and even before that, actually businesses going into classrooms and supporting. But that's our opportunity then as businesses to give them the practice on the job, which is why the apprenticeship model works so well. We see a huge amount of value out of that, you know, and that job augmentation is brilliant to be able to then practice the fundamentals they've learned in the classroom on the job. But that's a real joint partnership between schools and business to do that.
I love that. And at Salesforce, we've got a huge responsibility where we ask each of our employees to volunteer, and I know Capita do exactly the same. But how do we make that, rather than it being an occasional volunteering, how do we make it a more permanent part of the national curriculum?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really about, rather than, as you say, it being almost a tick box for individuals and companies, it becomes formally part of metrics and measures. So, you know, we are measuring employees in terms of their ability to do the social value that they've committed to. So absolutely, whether that be going into a school to support, whether that's supporting some of our SME organisations to help upskill, it needs to become a measure and a metric that businesses are measured against, to be able to then, I guess, have the data to show that we're all working towards the same target collectively.
Love that. What's Capita's perspective on the responsibility or the role that business should play in supporting the wider community?
It's hugely important. You know, that's where we really truly will level the playing field, if we do build and support the communities in which we serve. But it's getting out there, isn't it? It's talking, it's telling the story, it's demystifying as well. That's a huge one. You know, a lot of individuals think this is going to take my job, and become quite, you know, skeptical or fearful of the AI and what that's going to do. It's about demystifying that for individuals, giving them the opportunity to practice, to build those skills, to gain confidence as well. And that's when the real game changer happens, I think.
I totally agree. So what one action would you like to see from business leaders to support wider AI literacy?
For me, it's about, I think, having a personal commitment to it. So I think all leaders should see it as their responsibility to upskill their workforce, individuals around them, to upskill. So yeah, that taking it as their personal responsibility.
Great. And then one final tricky question. Do you think that training 10 million people in AI is achievable?
I think it is, but only if we all do it together.